There's a lot of craziness going on right now in the housing market.
The average rent in the United States across all forms of housing is over $1,950 a month.
And some people are paying a monthly rent amount that's the exact same to own a property in the same area that they're currently renting in.
When we moved here, it was around $4,000. In 2023, it's over $6,700.
We were going to get a 23% increase, which we felt was like an eviction notice. It was an eviction notice.
But regardless of what's going on, in this video, I'm going to show you how to calculate a monthly mortgage payment so you can see how much it costs for real estate near you. Let's get right into it. All right, so the first thing that I like to check is what today's interest rate is, okay? Now, there's a lot of websites that you guys can use to actually see what the mortgage interest rates are for today. I recommend bankrate.com. That's bankrate.com, okay? And right here, you can actually see what the interest rates were. They actually go back about 90 days, and you can actually see right now that the national average as of 2/16 is 7.29%. Now, again, that is the national average, okay? So you always want to check to make sure that you get the number that works for where you live. And it says right here, on Thursday, February 15, 2024, the current average 30-year fixed mortgage rate is 7.29%. So this is the number right here that we're going to use for today's example. The next thing you want to do is find a mortgage calculator. Now, if you're not sure how to find one, don't worry. You can use the one located at parkplacerealtyllc.com. Let me show you what it looks like. So here's what the Park Place Realty mortgage calculator looks like, so you can plug in all the numbers. The reason why you want to use a calculator such as this one or similar to this one is because most calculators are very simple. A simple mortgage calculator is just going to ask you for the price, down payment, loan term, interest rate, and then you just calculate it, okay? But you need something that's more advanced. And it sounds like it's a lot more, but it's really only asking what the property taxes are, because that plays a major role, what the homeowner's insurance is, because that's going to affect the monthly payment as well. And if you're looking at a condo or something that has an association fee, that's going to play a role as well. So let's say, for example, we're looking at a house that costs $250,000. I think everywhere there's a house that costs $250,000. If there's no homes that cost $250,000, you need to move. No, I'm kidding, but you may need to move anyway. But anyway, then you have your down payment. Now, what you want to do is, this says if you put 20% down, 20% of 250,000 is 50,000. Now, if you're not putting down 20%, let's say you're putting down 3.5%, go ahead and change that to 3.5%, okay? And it's going to automatically change that number. Now, you see there's an I bubble up here. Let's see what that says. It says if your down payment is less than 20% of the home's purchase price, private mortgage insurance is required. That just simply means, so private mortgage insurance essentially happens anytime you put down less than 20%. Private mortgage insurance on average is about 1.75% times the amount that you borrow. So at $250,000, you're probably going to be around about $300 a month just because you put down less than 20%. Guys, that's on any house that you essentially put down less than 20% on. Let's continue. All right. And then we're going to zoom in just a little bit more so you guys can see this a little bit better. I want to make sure you guys can see all the numbers here. All right. So that's a little bit better. All right. So next, let's go into the interest rate. Now, we did just confirm that the interest rate for right now is 7.29. OK, so 7.29. Okay, so now we got that. And then the property taxes. Okay, now let's say, for example, this home has property taxes of $2,000 a year. Okay, now I know some of you guys are thinking, oh my God, that is high. And some of you guys are thinking, oh my God, that is low. Okay, so either way, I'm going to show you guys, because property taxes is the number one thing. Now, interest rate, it does play a role. But property taxes is, if it's not the most important, it's the second most important. And I'll show you why. Then you have homeowner's insurance. So now you can talk to a homeowner's insurance representative about this number if you want to, so you guys can have a better idea of how much that's going to end up being. But a property that's about $250,000 is typically going to need about $1,250 a year, $1,500 a year, somewhere in that range. So we'll use $1,250 on the low end. Okay. Now, again, every area is a little bit different, but here in Illinois, you can easily buy a house for $250,000, get some insurance for about $1,000 a year or $1,250 a year. Again, insurance people will break down to you the pros and and the cons of having something cheaper or more expensive, okay? Essentially, the more you pay, the more coverage you have, all right? So we're gonna go ahead and put in there $1,250, all right? And then I'm gonna zoom out a bit so you guys can see this example here. So you guys can see I didn't change any numbers here. And then we're gonna go ahead and click on calculate. Now, this is gonna let us know exactly how much that's gonna be, okay? So that's gonna be around $19.23 a month, okay? That a person will be paying. Now, this is how crucial this is. Let me show you how much the interest rate could change between now and the end of the year. Let's say, for example, the interest rates go down. So let's just say 5%. I think that's a reasonable amount. Let's say it go down to 5%, okay, by the end of the year. Instead of you paying $19.23, you're gonna be around $15.66. Guys, that's almost $300. No, that's actually more than that. So that's almost $400 that you're saving. That's why so many people are waiting for these interest rates, okay? But let's go ahead and go back and just say 7.29, right? But let's just say, okay, the rates are where they are, but we end up buying a home where there's where the property taxes are a little bit more. Let's say those property taxes are $8,000, okay? Yes, there are some areas like that. Calculate that now is $24.23. You guys see that difference between $24.23 versus being in an area where the property taxes are only $2,000. That breaks it down to $19.23. Why are property taxes just as important as an interest rate? Here's why. Interest rates go up, interest rates go down. But property taxes, every area is a little bit different. If anything, you got to fight, you got to appeal. You do get somewhat, most states will give you a homeowner's exemption. We'll do another video on that very soon. But again, for the most part, taxes are always going up with a slow creep versus interest rates. It just depends on what time you buy. And if you buy at a certain, it doesn't really matter when you buy per se. It's more so taking advantage of when the interest rates are lower, when it gets down to 3% or 4% again. But guys, I just showed you 5%. If it gets down to 4.5%, 4%, the world's going to go crazy because you can clearly see here that we're simply paying about $400 to $500 more per month on a $250,000 house, basically just because the interest rates are where they are right now. You need to know how much property you can afford. This is how you do it. This is what the numbers that you have to plug in to see it, all right? So if you like this video, you're most definitely going to love the next one. I'll see you there.